Namaste. In this podcast, I have talked about the planet Pluto. Pluto is very significant. It has its own impact and it does give results that impacts your life very deeply. Pluto is deeply connected with the sign Scorpio, the sign that I like a lot because without Scorpio, you can never attain the beyond. Scorpio is the depth of the ocean. And I find that there is a similarity between Pluto and Moola Nakshatra. And you have been watching my videos on Moola Nakshatra, so you can understand the significance of Moola Nakshatra. Moola Nakshatra is a really miraculous nakshatra. It can transform you inside out. And always remember, transformation is a painful process. The caterpillar becoming a butterfly, but the process of this becoming is indeed very painful. And so many people, because they are shallow, they don't understand the beauty of Moola Nakshatra. They don't understand the beauty of Pluto, and they don't understand the beauty of Lord Shiva. Because Lord Shiva is also very closely connected with the planet Pluto. How? You will find in this podcast, because I have explained in detail. And at the same time, I have also shared the significance of Moon-Pluto conjunction. So there is much in this podcast, but only for my close followers who can resonate, who can understand the language and the sharing that I share with each one of you. So let's begin with this beautiful podcast. Moola Nakshatra, Pluto, Lord Shiva, and the significance of Moon-Pluto conjunction. Die, O yogi, die, die, sweet is dying, says one of the greatest gurus of this century, Guru Gorakhnath. Pluto signifies this death, but this death is not of the body, but of your illusions, your ego, your lust, your anger, your desires. The ultimate death is the death of desires. And so the great Guru Gorakhnath says to those seeking liberation, moksha, die, O yogi, die, sweet is dying. Even Jesus talks about the same death when he says to Nicodemus, to experience God, you have to reborn. And so the ultimate goal of the great planet Pluto is to bring transformation within you. And that happens when you go through the fire of suffering. Through the fire of suffering, all your illusions about yourself, illusions about the world, all your ego, all your desires are burnt. And then, just as the phoenix bird rises from the ashes, you too rise from the ashes and experience the ultimate freedom, liberation, moksha. The connection of Pluto with Moola Nakshatra is very deep. This is because both signify destruction and both are connected with Lord Shiva, revered as the god of destruction in Hindu faith. Shiva's destruction is seen as a cosmic function that paves the way for renewal and transformation, embodying the cyclical nature of existence. This transformative force clears away illusions, attachments, and old structures, allowing new life to emerge, a role that aligns with Shiva's title as the ultimate yogi, guiding spiritual seekers towards enlightenment. And that's exactly what Pluto and Moola Nakshatra also signify. In his aspect as the destroyer, Lord Shiva represents Tandav, his cosmic dance, symbolizing the cycle of creation, preservation, and dissolution. It is said that through the Tandava, Shiva controls the rhythm of the universe, illustrating that destruction is an integral part of the creation process. This closely resonates with Pluto's astrological energy, which is also transformative, calling us to confront our inner depths, let go of old patterns, and evolve spiritually. Pluto therefore fits seamlessly into Shiva's archetype as a transformative force, breaking down the old to create space for spiritual rebirth and growth. Pluto represents dark energies, and that is natural because only a man who can deal with his own darkness can deal with others' darkness. And so if you have Moon-Pluto conjunction, then you are indeed a very intense person, and you are definitely going to be drawn towards fierce and transformative deities like Lord Shiva and Goddess Kali. Ancient seers and sages were aware of the far-reaching planets that held sway over human lives, and some texts suggest that a dark transformative force akin to Pluto's qualities was acknowledged during the times of the Mahabharata. In Sanskrit, Pluto is referred to as Yama, drawing a symbolic connection with the deity of death and transformation. The best way to enhance the qualities of Moon-Pluto conjunction is to worship and chant Lord Shiva's mantra. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, and to strictly fast on Mondays. Wearing a natural pearl gemstone of 5 carats in a silver ring on the right hand ring finger is also helpful, since the dark energies of Pluto may impact the sensitive soft moon, leading to sudden emotional outbursts and getting lost in the dark shades of past life. Pluto, just like Moola Nakshatra, has a higher purpose, the evolution of higher consciousness, and that is possible only when you go through certain sufferings. Suffering is the sole origin of consciousness, and so through suffering you experience the death of your illusions, death of your ego, and death of your assumptions, and that is how you come face to face with the reality of human life, with the reality of human tendencies. And that is why the great Guru Gorakhnath says, "Die, O yogi, die, die, sweet is dying." This death that the great master Gorakhnath mentions is the death of your ego, the death of your mind. When ego is killed, the mind dies on its own, because it is the ego that feeds the mind. Gorakhnath is not talking about the death of your physical body, because you have died many times and have acquired new fresh bodies. So your physical body has died many times. But what about your mind, your ego? That has never died. Your ego and mind goes on living. This same ego finds a new womb. This same ego, troubled by new desires, again starts off on the journey. Even before leaving behind one's body, it is already eager for another body. This death, this physical death, is not the real death. One man told Gorakhnath that he was thinking of committing suicide. Gorakhnath said, "Go and commit it, but I tell you, afterwards you will be very surprised." That man said, "What do you mean? I came to you so that you would tell me, don't do it. I went to other sadhus, they all cautioned me, brother, don't do it. Suicide is a great sin." Gorakhnath said, "Are you mad? No one can commit suicide. No one can even die. Dying is not possible. I warn you, do it and you will be surprised. After committing suicide, you will discover what? The body is left behind. But I am exactly as I was, and If you want to commit real suicide, then stay with me. If you want to play nonsense games, then it's up to you. Jump from some mountain, put your neck in a noose. But if you want the real death, then stay by my side. I will give you the art which brings on the great death. Then there will be no possibility of returning again. But that great death seems to us to be nothing but great death. That is why he calls it sweet. Die, O yogi, die, die, sweet is dying. Die that death Gorakh died and saw. Gorakh says, I teach death. The death I passed through and became awakened. It was the death of sleep, not of me. The ego died, not me. Duality died, not me. Duality died and non-duality was born. Time died and I met the eternal. The small, constricted life broke and the drop became the ocean. Yes, certainly when the drop falls into the ocean, in one sense it is dying. As a drop it is dying, and in another sense, for the first time, it attains the great life. It lives on as the ocean, the vast ocean. The great Sufi saint Rumi says, I am not a drop in the ocean, I am the whole ocean in a drop. When your ego and your mind attains death, you are reborn. That's exactly what Jesus says to Nicodemus. To reborn, you must die first. And Nicodemus says, what do you mean? Jesus says, first your ego and your mind should die. Only then can you reborn. Only then can you experience God. If you are a man or a woman with deep understanding, then you will definitely appreciate the great work that Pluto does. The work of bringing self-transformation within you. I personally love and respect the powers of Pluto, one of its kind energy in our galaxy that brings us closer to God by taking us through many sufferings and pain. The equation of human life is very simple. The more you move towards pleasure-seeking activities, the more you are bound to suffer. And the more you go through sufferings and pain, the more you are bound to realize the futility of all. And that is how you are going to come back home from where you started your journey, from God's home. Alexander the Great, the most powerful emperor, during the very last moment of his life says, all is futility. But for this, he killed thousands of people. For this, he acquired hundreds of kingdoms across the world. But in the end, he says, all is futility. So after death, he is definitely going to progress on his path because he has self-realized the fact that Pluto so dearly wants every person to self-realize that all is futility. The message of Pluto is just in two words, let go. Lao Tzu, the great spiritual master, says, by letting it go, it all gets done. The world is won by those who let it go. But when you try and try, the world is beyond the winning. The great Sufi saint Rumi says, life is a balance of holding on and letting go. People with Moon-Pluto conjunction often excel in professions that involve deep psychological exploration such as therapy, counseling, healing and trauma work. Their natural curiosity for uncovering hidden truths make them effective investigators, researchers or journalists. Many also thrive in healing professions like psychiatry or holistic therapy, where they can support emotional and spiritual recovery. Creative fields including writing poems, filmmaking, allow them to express intense dark themes, while spiritual practices like astrology align with their transformative nature. They may also feel drawn to to forensic psychology, crisis management, or activism, where their resilience and dedication drive meaningful change. If you have this conjunction, then you need to know that you are not here by accident. The universe intends to do something very important through you. All you need is to start living your life in deep surrender, and then the miracle will start happening. Then the dance, the joy, the beauty will manifest in your life. Hari Om Tat Sat. Jai Sri Ganesha. Jai Guru. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha.